Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. Discover yourself, break out of mediocrity, and become the mom you've always aspired to be. Here's your host, Kirsten Tyrell.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. I am joined by a very wonderful mother. Her name is Morgan Slade. She is a photojournalist and a military wife. I guess I shouldn't say mom. You don't have any children old enough to be in the military yet.
Oh, goodness, no.
But thank you for being here. I'm really excited to get to know you and hear all about your life and all the crazy that's happening and how you're staying on top of it. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. So
Absolutely.
honored.
So tell me about your kids, how many you have, how old they are, what's going on in your life right now.
I have 3 kids. My oldest is 5. She'll be 6 in March. She's in kindergarten, and her name is Sammy. And then I have a little boy who just turned 4. His name's Brock. He's my wild child, the middle child. True definition of the middle child. And then my little guy, my baby, he just turned 1. And it's kind of heartbreaking, but I love him so much. I love them all so much.
Yes. Those babies, though, do you think you'll have more, or is it more heartbreaking because it's like your last one?
Oh, I don't know. Like, I think after this last year, I think 3 might be my last. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not a definite no, but I'm for sure not a definite yes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you've had a really interesting year, different from the most people who have a baby at home. So talk about that. What's been going on this last year?
Oh, so almost a year ago to the day, I found out, I remember I was sitting in my room on my bed and I was just holding my 2-week-old baby, and I got a call from my husband, and he told me he was getting deployed. And I didn't believe him at first, but it was really real.
Oh my
and
gosh.
He had about 2 weeks to prepare to leave.
Wow.
So it was quite shocking. So he left in February, and then he actually got to come home a few months early. He just got home in December.
Wow.
So he was gone that whole time.
That is crazy. I get chills when I hear these stories, and I just can't even fathom the sacrifice and the faith that takes to let your husband go. And oh man, I can't imagine having a brand new baby and knowing, okay, we're going to strap on her big girl boots and do this by myself.
Yeah, it was, everybody says that, but there's just some survival mode that kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody kind of has that in them. They just don't activate it.
Yeah, they don't need to most of the time.
They don't need to. But I'm a firm believer that everybody, maybe at some point in your life it'll have to kick in and you'll be like, oh, it was there.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So what kind of support system have you had? Have you been all alone, or do you live near family, or how have you made it work?
So the coolest part, and by cool I mean interesting. So my very best friend in the whole world, she had a baby 6 weeks after me. So her baby was 2 weeks old, but her husband is my husband's best friend, and we live about 9 minutes away from each other, and he also deployed.
Oh, wow.
And so we have kids the same age, almost the exact same age, and they're best friends. And she was a huge support to me.
I'm sure she'd say that about you too.
I hope so. I hope I wasn't just a crying mess all the time, but I think that was huge. I have so many awesome friends where I live, not just military wives, but and a lot of military wives. But sometimes I just want to kind of leave the army behind too, and remember that I'm normal.
You're still a person.
Yeah. So, and then my family lives in southern Utah, which is about 3.5 hours away. So not terribly far.
Yeah.
And they were awesome to help me out too.
Wow.
I definitely had so many people, and I'm LDS as well. So my ward is the most amazing ward on earth.
That's good. That's a huge blessing.
It really is.
That's a really great community to have around you when you're going through something like this. And oh my goodness, especially with a tiny baby, like my emotions are going to surface just thinking about having to go through that rigmarole and, doing the whole, because even if you have friends that are there and supporting you emotionally, to not physically have somebody there to take turns and to give you a break in the night and going through all of that. I mean, I go crazy after like a day when my husband's at work. So if he didn't come home and relieve me, oh
No,
man.
it was definitely hard, and I have to. And I'm a baby too, so probably everyone will hear me cry. But that's like one of my introductions is like, "Hey, I'll probably cry." My
Me
stomach
too.
might on fire. Um, but a huge part was my faith. Man, it was so hard. So I'll just tell you about one experience. Is that okay?
Yes, please do.
So literally 1 week after my husband left, 1 week, my little guy, the wild child I told you about, my middle kid, we were visiting my parents in southern Utah, and we had just gotten back from church, and I just wanted to take a nap so bad because, man, it was just a trying week.
Yeah, I can
And
imagine.
so I laid down, and had my baby in a pack and play beside me, and I was in my parents' kind of downstairs, and I heard this crash, and I swear I thought that I knew it was him immediately because he breaks things like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that he like bashed in my mom's china cabinet or something.
Oh.
But the crash was actually, well, to back up a little, I sat straight up and my mom started screaming, bless her heart. But he came running in and she's like, his finger's gone. And I'm like, Mom, because my mom, I love her so much, but I don't know. I don't want to say she doesn't do good in situations like that, but she is like the world's best grandma. And if my little girl scrapes her knee, she'll act like it's the biggest deal in the world just to make her feel better. So I kind of just thought she was overreacting. But I mean, when you hear that, I ran upstairs and his finger really was gone.
Oh my
He
gosh.
was holding like a stump. I could see his exposed bone. And what had happened is he had been jumping on the guest bedroom bed and he was playing with the blind cord simultaneously.
Oh.
And he got his finger wrapped in it and he simultaneously fell off the bed, which caused his finger to just capped it at the bottom of the first knuckle.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, oh man, I didn't even know what to do. I
wouldn't either.
So I had like this brief stutter. I was like, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden that same survival mode just like kicked in again. I got a towel, wrapped it around the base of his finger, made my mom hold it. I'm so sorry, Mom, if she ever listens to this, but and I like just immediately began to look for his finger because I knew that, we didn't have much time if we were going to save it.
Yeah.
But so I looked for about 5 minutes. It seemed like 5 hours, and I couldn't find it. So I just finally had my dad, which we were in the middle of nowhere, by the way. So we had to drive about 30 minutes to a hospital.
Oh my gosh.
And we got there without finding the finger. And immediately they're like, we need to life flight you to Primary Children's Hospital up in Salt Lake City. And so we were just waiting for life flight to get there. And then literally about 10 minutes before life flight came, my mom said, I'm on my way. I found his finger.
Oh.
So, again, I'm sorry, Mom, but she had just said a prayer and crazy enough, like the force flipped it clear up on a corner shelf behind a pile of DVDs. Like she would have never found it.
Oh my
I'm a
goodness.
firm believer that, she was, led to that spot. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a firm believer that, Christ knows who we are. And I don't know. I have so many tender mercies that I just have to be so grateful for. Well, that's one of them. It was his index finger on his dominant hand too. So
oh, that's what I was picturing. How funny.
yeah. So they were able to sew it back on. It didn't take all the way, but enough of it did that they wouldn't have to amputate any bone. So, and that's what we were hoping for. That was the best case scenario. So,
oh wow,
it was really awesome.
So your first letter to your husband or first phone call was, hey, guess what happened in the first week?
He's like, kidding me? I was like, this is a precursor to
oh my.
how this is going to go. But, everything worked out. So
yeah. Well, I can definitely see how you couldn't necessarily make it through something like this. Not necessarily. You couldn't make it through something like this without faith and without a little bit of help from the other side. And I'm a firm believer that we have all the help we need if we just ask for it. So it's kind of cool that you had that early on. So you realized, okay, I just need to hand it over and rely on the Lord to do it for me. So.
And I think that's I don't want to say that's why it happened, but that was just like, I am not a very humble person when it comes to looking weak.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely needed that because there's no way I could have done that by myself. And
Yeah.
the chance that I happened to be at my parents' house, so that was like kind of, okay, Morgan, let's ease you into this.
Yeah. We'll give you a little bit of help.
So I can't ask my actual parents, but like definitely later on when I had to, go to surgeon visits and whatever, I had to rely a lot on the people around me that I probably wouldn't have asked before.
Yeah.
And just silently soldiered on, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But
Wow. Well, that's my worst nightmare. I'm like sitting here thinking, would I be able to touch the finger? And I'm like, I really hope.
I know. Later I thought about it, and when I walked into the hospital, I was just a mess. That's when I just like broke down.
Oh.
But I was like, oh my gosh. And the first thing I asked the surgeon, I was like, does this even happen to anyone else? And he assured me that I wasn't the only one.
Yeah. Oh, well, good to know. Good to know if it ever happens to me.
Yeah, any crazy, there's probably one other crazy case, so.
Oh my gosh. So let's see. Going back to, I love what you sent me about yourself. You're a photojournalist, and you're not only you're a photographer, but you're a journalist too, which I love because I took a photojournalism class in college, and that was one of my favorite things. I said, when I'm done having kids, I'm going to go back and get my master's degree in photojournalism, which I probably, at this point, I'm not going to, but I loved it. So how did you get into that, and how long have you been doing that? Was that before kids or after kids?
Oh, so that's another crazy thing, but I actually went to school to be a social worker.
Oh.
I just have to finish my last 2 years of the master's program. But so my husband's in the Army, like I said, and we had to move to California for a little while. And that kind of put a hiccup in my, school plans. So while I was out there, we lived in Monterey, and it's just the most beautiful, beautiful area. And I got really into photography. I had always been into it, but never professionally. And so I just practiced a lot out there. But and then when we came back for him to finish his school after we had our stint in California, I had kids, and going back to school wasn't really something that I could do right then. So I actually interviewed for my dream job, and I got down to the last, 2 people. And I kind of had this ultimatum with myself, like, if I don't get this job, then I really need to do something in order to help my family, because my husband was in school. I kind of felt like it was my turn to help get him through school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of made an ultimatum, like, okay, if this doesn't work, then I'll go public with this photography thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, and that didn't pan out, the job. And I'm so glad it didn't. Again, like, the divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that door closed to me at that time, and that this door opened. And then so immediately I, went public with my photography thing. And simultaneously I read this call for writers for Military Spouse magazine.
Oh.
In 15 minutes, I like threw together something, I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing to even read now, but I threw it together, and for some weird reason, the editor at the time really believed in me, and she had me start writing for them. So that's how I got my, brush with the journalism and photojournalism at the same time. So I've been writing for them, and I've written for a few other publications.
Just a few other, like over 75. Right? That's really, really cool. I mean, do you have a blog or a website or anything, or do you mostly write for other publications?
So I'm actually working on a project right now that I'm hoping to, release later, probably around April. It'll be my own blog, but right now I mostly write for Military Spouse magazine. I've written for like Lemonade and Lenses, if anyone's ever followed.
I have.
That. And just a few other like photography related, but I will have my own shortly.
Well, I will read it.
Website. Oh, you're so kind. I've had one person. Well, you and my mom.
I totally will. Yeah, you've got two. You've got 2 guaranteed.
No, right now I just have a photography website. And so it's just www.morgansladephotography.com.
Cool. And Morgan was actually referred to me from Abby, who I had on the first week of the podcast. She recommended you, just had all great things to say about you. And so I'm so glad for that. And look at how cool the network of people is. I think Abby's fabulous, and, you know, birds of a feather.
Seriously, I would not be where I am without Abby. I owe that girl so much, and I hope she knows that. But she's so amazing.
Yes,
so.
She is, and I'm so glad you had a growing experience thanks to her selflessness and putting her expertise out there.
Yes. Oh my gosh, she's amazing.
Cool. I'm not even kidding when I say I would read your blog. I'm like, I really hope she has something I can go read more about what she, her life and everything. I'm always so fascinated by people who have such different lives than me. I mean, we all have the same common things going on. We're all moms. We all have certain struggles. I swear everybody I talk to has at least one crazy kid. I feel like I have 2 or 3 out of 3.
Right. Oh, I've been there. Yeah.
But we are all not that we're all in survival mode, but we kind of are. Not to the extent that I think you were in for 10 months, but
I think so for sure.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing that I think moms have this inner excuse that, oh, I'm not going through anything major. So my reason for suffering isn't worthy. And I don't know. I really want to do something to combat that stigma.
Yeah.
Being a mom is just hard, whether it's doing the mundane over and over, pouring cereal at 8 a.m., sending your kid off to school at 9, and then, laundry and all the other household chores. I don't know.
It never ends.
Moms had dreams too.
Thank you. Yes, exactly.
And it's hard to delay those dreams and sometimes even just, cancel them.
Yeah.
And I don't think people talk about that enough.
No.
But I think all moms kind of experience that.
Yes. And I'm really glad you said that. That's honestly the very beginning of the podcast. The reason, my mission for it was, there's too much out there talking about how hard this is. And yes, it's super hard. But I want to make that stigma not so prevalent and talk about how rewarding and amazing it is, and the fact that we don't have to be limited by that. We still get to be individuals and we still get to reach for our dreams, and that's only going to make us better moms and better people. So I think, yes, it's super complicated and hard, and sometimes you do have to put certain dreams on the shelf. I've seen moms do that and then they pull it back off the shelf after their kids are a little bit older. But I mean, yeah, everybody needs to know that they're not alone in those kinds of things. And I think just as important as trying to be positive and reaching for all these great things, we do need to acknowledge that your little struggles don't have to feel so little that they're not worth talking about or worth sharing.
Definitely.
Even if you're having a hard day just trying to I don't know, get your kids down for a nap, you might be at the same low that Morgan was when her son lost a finger.
No, and that's exactly, I know, and it seems like just this week that there's so much turmoil everywhere. And I felt bad for even feeling bad about, certain situations, but I don't think that's logical. I think everyone has a different version of coping and a different version of strength even. Mm-hmm. So, and it makes our experiences so unique, and that's why we have them, is to learn from them. But I love what you said. Just because we, have those experiences and delay those dreams. Right now, my kids are my dream. Mm-hmm. I had to postpone, and I mean cancel. So I played college basketball, and then I found out, about 2 years. So I was married for almost 2 years when I found out I was pregnant. And I was simultaneously playing basketball. And so I had to end my career, playing basketball, which is something I've done since I was 2. And that was so hard. But just this year, my little girl started playing junior jazz.
Oh.
And it came full circle. And I remember, this is so dumb, I'm crying, but I remember just looking at her, I was like, this is what it's all about. This whole time, and I still get sad every March Madness a little bit. But this whole time, I thought, that was a major part of my life that was kind of missing. And it was a little teeny bit bitter about it, I guess.
Yeah.
But when I saw her in her cute little jersey and and her, little fumble dribbling skills, it just came full circle. And I was like, oh man, this is my dream. this is so much better. But yeah, it's still, I mean, I think it's still okay to miss those things, but to just recognize that, I don't know if you've ever seen that it's kind of a cheesy picture, but it has a picture of Christ holding a huge teddy bear behind his back.
I
And
haven't.
and he's asking the little girl for her little mini teddy bear. He's like, and he said, please give me yours and I'll give you mine.
Oh,
But she couldn't see the teddy bear. When it was like a life-size teddy bear. But
uh-huh.
that's how I feel every day. Like, I just need to be more trusting
Yeah.
that, I don't know, that, and my kids are that. They're the bigger teddy bear.
That
So,
is so beautifully said. Great. Now I'm crying. We're not a good combination.
oh man, I'm gonna need a Diet Coke.
Oh, okay. Now you nailed it on the head. Now we're best friends for life.
Sweet.
We cry. We drink Diet Coke. I might not have a husband in the military, but right there, like we're soul sisters.
Oh, sweet. I need more soul sisters.
Well, I'll be your soul sister any day.
Awesome.
I absolutely adore you, and I love the messages that you've brought here today. And I want to have you on again. I say that to not everybody, but I do love everybody I interview. But you're so uplifting, and you've really brought a lot of reality to the table. And if nobody's crying out there, then you're all heartless creatures. I'm just kidding. I always say that to people who aren't criers. I'm like, what's wrong with you? How are you not bawling your eyes out?
Yes. Oh man. But oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me on. It's been such an honor.
Good.
I feel so honored that you would consider me among the other people you've had. And
Well, you're definitely you're setting up a big pretense now for everybody after you.
oh, I don't know about that.
So on that note, I ask everybody, what makes you a marvelous mom, Morgan?
Oh man, that is the roughest question. I would say something that I've just learned recently about myself is that I'm not afraid to say sorry. And when I say I'm not afraid to say sorry, I'm not afraid to tell my kids sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's a great quality that some moms have and some moms don't, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
I am not a perfect mom by any means. And I know that my kids see that, and I want them to see what genuine apologies are like and humility when we don't do things right. And also, I think forgiveness, because I've had to ask for their forgiveness a lot. And simultaneously, I think that they've learned at the same time that when they do something wrong and they ask me to forgive them, that they know I will, because we've, gone through that circus and circle of they need to forgive me and I forgive them. So I think that maybe my one redeeming quality is that I'm not afraid to say sorry.
I'm sure that you have many, many more. I could tell you many more just from talking to you today. So, but I'm proud of you for owning that. That's so cute. That really is a huge trait. It's a hard thing to do. It's so funny that it should be hard to apologize to our kids, and that we can have pride with children who,
I know.
it's not like they're going to be like an adult and say, well, okay, but don't do it again, or blah, blah, blah. They're not going to argue with us. They're so grateful for the apology. So it's funny that that's hard, but it really is. And so you should be very proud that you can do that, and that that's a trait and skill that you have with your parenting.
Thank you. I'm working on it.
Me too. I just had to apologize today.
Oh, me too already. So it's going to be a great day.
Yeah. Well, we'll both get a Diet Coke, and it'll be an even better day.
Oh, so amazing.
Well, thanks again for being here, Morgan. I hope you continue to have a great day. And for the rest of you guys, we will catch you on the next episode. Thank you again, Morgan.
Thank you so much.